Today is Monday, June 6th. What to know about bipartisan gun reform in the works that could actually pass Congress. And the capital of Ukraine is dealing with the first major strikes in weeks. Plus, where you're most likely to see the type of crypto scams that cost Americans more than $1 billion last year alone. What new devices and upgrades Apple is expected to announce this week. And will Top Gun Maverick do as well for the Air Force as it has for the box office? Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Key U.S. senators say they're making big bipartisan progress toward new gun reform, meaning it's actually possible that this year Congress decides to toughen federal gun laws for the first time in a generation. That said, the reform package will almost certainly fall way short of what President Biden and other Democrats have been asking for. One of the senators leading negotiations right now spoke to CNN about it yesterday. Senator Chris Murphy said lawmakers do not plan to bring any bill to the floor that would ban assault weapons or include comprehensive background checks. Those ideas don't have enough support. Most Republicans say they would keep law-abiding Americans from getting guns, which is their Second Amendment right. But there are other items still on the table, like investments in mental health care and school safety, red flag laws that are meant to keep guns away from people deemed dangerous, and at least some changes to the background check system. Lawmakers expect a gun reform package to be ready for official debate this week. To be clear, despite bipartisan negotiations happening, this is still an extremely divisive issue on Capitol Hill and around the country. In fact, one Republican congressman just decided he would retire after the backlash he got from his own party over supporting gun reform. Unfortunately, we have to tell you about more mass shootings from around the U.S. over the weekend, and police are still searching for the shooters. The first one happened in Philadelphia's busy South Street Entertainment District on Saturday night. Some kind of fight broke out, and a few different shooters ended up firing into a crowd of hundreds of people. There, at least 3 people died and a dozen more were hurt. Then, just a few hours later, 14 people were shot near a bar in downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, and 3 people were hit by cars while they were trying to run away. Police think there was more than one shooter there, too. Parties in Arizona, Virginia, Texas, and South Carolina were also interrupted with gunfire, and dozens of people were shot. A former White House official is now facing criminal charges over the January 6th investigation. A grand jury indicted former trade advisor Peter Navarro for refusing to abide by a subpoena from the House committee that's investigating the Capitol riot. This is the first time an official who was actually working under former President Trump at the time of the riot has been charged in connection to the investigation. Although the charges are not about anything that was actually done on January 6th. Instead, they're about the subpoena the House committee issued months ago, demanding Navarro show up for testimony and provide documents to investigators. Navarro has been fighting that subpoena, saying he shouldn't have to comply because of executive privilege that lets the president have confidential conversations. And Navarro has tried to make the point that he's a victim of an unfair system run by Democrats. Well, now he's facing 2 counts of criminal contempt of Congress. If he's found guilty, he could spend up to 2 years in jail and face fines of up to $200,000. By the way, the January 6th committee is holding its very first public hearing this week, saying it'll give the American people a summary of its findings during prime time this Thursday. The capital of Ukraine is dealing with the first major strikes there in weeks. Kyiv has been getting pummeled by Russian missiles. Russia says it's going after supplies that Western nations like the U.S. recently sent to Ukraine, and that it's hitting its targets, claiming it has destroyed donated tanks. Ukrainian officials also say Russia hit a rail car repair facility. And that's a big problem, because Russia has also blocked export routes through the Black Sea. So the railway system has been the main way Ukrainians have been getting shipments in and out of the country. And the strikes are not expected to end here. Russia's President Putin says more targets will be hit if weapons deliveries continue, specifically mentioning long-range missiles coming from the U.S. Remember, President Biden already announced a plan to send new advanced rocket systems to Ukraine, a move Russia says is, quote, pouring oil on the fire. Still, the precision weapons and trained troops are expected to reach the Ukrainian battlefield in about 3 weeks. Today marks 78 years since D-Day, the day Allied troops invaded Normandy, France to fight the Nazis in World War II. It was the largest invasion of land and water in history, and some historians consider it the single most important day in the 20th century and a huge turning point in the war. Many World War II veterans and their families got together for a series of events over the weekend to pay tribute to those who helped bring peace and freedom to Europe, and to look at the monuments marking the key moments of the fight. But for those from the U.S., the main event happens today at the Normandy American Cemetery and Memorial. All right, we have more news coming up, but first, for the first time ever on this show, bringing on my husband, Dan, to help me tell you about our sponsor, Pampers, and their Cruisers 360 Fit diapers. So, Dan, thank you for doing this, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
So, you know that in recent months, we switched to the Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit diapers, and I really want to hear your perspective about this. What is one thing about these diapers that stands out to you?
Pull them up, put them on. I think it's kind of a novel way to do this, especially with our little guy who does not like being on his back anymore, especially during diaper changes. The old diapers, you got to kind of go around the sides, get it underneath his butt, do the side tape is the worst, and he kicks you the whole time. So now with these, you can just let him stand up. He steps into him, you pull him up. I don't know. I think he likes it a lot better.
And, we're talking about Pampers. It is the #1 pediatrician recommended brand. Check them out. It's the Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit diapers. You can buy in store and download the Pampers Club app today to start earning rewards with every diapers and wipes purchase. Thanks for joining us and sharing your perspective, Dan.
Pampers, if you're listening, we could use some additional samples.
It's official now. Tropical Storm Alex became the first named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. And just before it was named, the system hit South Florida with heavy rain, strong winds, and flooding. The city of Miami closed several roads and at least one beach, and the danger from the flooding was high all weekend. As of this morning, no reports of deaths in the U.S., but the storm did kill at least 3 people in Cuba. Now, Tropical Storm Alex is heading toward Bermuda, where tropical storm warnings are already in place. A new government report found Americans lost more than $1 billion to crypto scams in 2021. The Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, did this analysis and found 1 out of every $4 reported lost was crypto-related. That's more than any other payment method, and 60 times more than what was reported in 2018. A lot of people first saw these scams on social media sites like Instagram and Facebook. In fact, about half of the people who reported being scammed said it started with an ad, message, or post on social media. The most common is said to be fake cryptocurrency investment opportunities. It's where someone promises you can invest in a new viral currency that doesn't actually exist. And keep in mind, because crypto is not a bank-like institution, there's not really a place to report this type of fraud or a way to get your money back. The FTC warned that these types of scams are only becoming more common, so the agency offered up some advice. Avoid anything that promises guaranteed profits and big returns or requires you to buy cryptocurrency, and, quote, never mix online dating and investment advice. Expect some announcements from Apple this week. The tech giant's annual developer conference starts today. And it's usually when Apple reveals its newest software and maybe new versions of some of its popular devices, too. Reports say to expect a look at Apple's latest iPhone operating system, iOS 16. It's rumored to have a revamped notification center, new lock screen, and more social features for iMessage. There may even be a new MacBook Air laptop unveiled this week as well. But all eyes are on VR and AR rumors, as in virtual and augmented realities. Some think a new mixed reality headset capable of both is coming, and Apple is reportedly teaming up with Hollywood directors to create video content for it. Apple's event will be live streamed on its website, YouTube, and other social media platforms. It kicks off at 10 a.m. Pacific time today and runs through Friday. Top Gun Maverick did it again. The sequel's second weekend in theaters is now among the top 10 highest-grossing second weekends in box office history, at least in North America. And it's doing well internationally, too. Remember, the movie already broke records for its Memorial Day weekend debut. And it's also now Tom Cruise's highest-grossing film ever. Variety points to positive reviews, word of mouth, and a lack of competition for at least some of its success. Either way, the U.S. military is hoping the movie's popularity might convince more people to join the armed forces. As Fox News reports, the original Top Gun movie in 1986 created a 500% increase in applications from young men who wanted to be naval aviators. And now the Navy and the Air Force hope the new movie gives them a boost again. In fact, the Air Force is running a recruitment ad before the movie, hoping to make the connection even more clear. Tennis legend Rafael Nadal broke another record at the French Open, becoming the oldest champion in the history of the tournament. He won it all 2 days after his 36th birthday. Perhaps even more surprising, Nadal has been dealing with chronic pain in his left foot. So just to be able to play, he needed pain-killing injections before every round that made his foot numb. Still, Nadal came out on top, winning his 14th men's single title at the French Open and his 22nd Grand Slam overall, solidifying his record there too. On the women's side, Polish tennis star Iga Świątek won the French Open for the second time by beating American Coco Gauff. That extended her winning streak to 35 matches. That's one better than the best Serena Williams ever had, and it equals the longest streak so far this century. Next up, the tennis world is focused on Wimbledon, which starts later this month. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, a message from our sponsor. If you haven't tried KiwiCo yet, it delivers monthly projects that help kids explore science, technology, engineering, art, and math, all in a hands-on and fun way. KiwiCo has subscription lines for kids of all ages, ranging from infants and preschoolers all the way to teens. So there's something for everyone. I really loved getting new toys and experiments for my son Dax, all while knowing KiwiCo is made to cultivate his curiosity and creativity. They're always perfect for where he's at with his development at any given time, and he loves what we get with KiwiCo. And I love that they're delivered to my door each month without any extra research or legwork on my part, so I can focus on the fun part, spending quality time with my child. Plus, I love how high quality the materials are every time. Make summer more awesome with KiwiCo. Get 30% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with code NEWSWORTHY at kiwico.com. There's no commitment, so you can pause or cancel anytime. Get 30% off your first month at kiwico.com with the promo code NEWSWORTHY. Now, back to Money Monday. All right, heads up, the cost of car insurance is rising. The Wall Street Journal reports rates are going up as much as 20% in some locations. Insurance companies think it's necessary to deal with inflation since it's costing them more now to repair or replace vehicles. Also, the amount of driving and the number of crashes have rebounded since pandemic lows. So you may notice the new prices the next time your policy is up for renewal. Of course, your car insurance rate depends on a lot of things, from your age to your driving history to the type of car you drive to where you live. Insurance providers actually have to work with each state when setting rates. And right now, some states are approving those price increases faster than others. Bankrate says the most expensive state for full coverage car insurance is now New York. Apparently, the high rates are because a lot of fraudulent insurance claims and a lot of dense traffic, which brings a higher chance of a crash. The cheapest state for car insurance? Maine. All right, thank you so much for tuning in today and every day. We'll be back with much more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.